So this picture right here, this baby, this is the baby's back. They've actually pulled the baby's head to try to twist it. So the birth process can be pretty damaging. Who here was a C-section? Well, that's actually even worse. When I was younger and first learning, I always thought if you were C-section, they opened you up like a suitcase and just took you out. But no, that's not only is it not the natural way to do it, and it's necessary in some instances, but it's typically more damaging to the spine. And then let's talk about childhood. Look at some of these pictures. I just want you guys to know, in case you weren't sure, your feet aren't meant to touch the back of your head. Now, he's 8 or 9 years old, so he's probably going to be able to get away with that. Here's another one. You're not supposed to land on your head on the swing. And then, of course, like sports injuries and things like this. So I'm just trying to plant a seed to get you guys to understand how your spine misaligned and why you might need chiropractic to get the foundation of your health right. So let's talk about accidents and injuries. Studies show that it only takes an 8-mile-an-hour whiplash to mess up your neck and interfere with your nervous system. I actually have folks that go to amusement parks like Six Flags or Carowinds or Disney World, and they come back and they have whiplash damage because it doesn't take much speed to throw the neck around. So I personally don't ride roller coasters, and that's just because I always was scared of them, but now I have like a intellectual justification to not like them. But really, I was just scared of them. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. What we're looking for ultimately is a head-neck misalignment, what we call an upper cervical subluxation, but I'm not concerned about the fancy word. I just want you to make sure you get the concept so you can understand how we can help and communicate it to other people that you know we can help. But basically, when the head and neck are lined up, the body mechanics works properly and the nervous system is free to work like it's supposed to. When that top bone misaligns and takes the head with it, then the whole rest of the spine can misalign. If you want to see how prevalent this is, go walking through the mall. You don't see anybody walking around like this, but you do see people with a tilted shoulder and a drawn up hip, or you ever see the little old lady with the dropped hips and the forward head. That's ultimately a misalignment in the neck and the head not on straight and the whole body reacting. Or watch the news. Watch the anchorman or the weather lady. Watch how they all have all that head tilt. So with corrective spinal care, and for you guys that have been patients, you know this, but those who haven't, this is just a little introduction. Basically, that top bone misaligns and it does two things. It interferes with the brain and body communication like we've been talking about, and it throws the whole rest of the spine off. So by many times problems in the legs or low back or sciatica or even the shoulders, it's ultimately a neck problem. But nevertheless, what we do in our office is we know how to correct your spine and fix everything and the spots that need to be fixed that are going to affect the other ones. They have a diagnosis now called failed back surgery syndrome. And what that means is, if you think this guy, he's got a curvature and he's got a stress point and is finally wore out and he had to have surgery. Well, if they don't get the head back on straight and get the spine working right, then they've just created a new bottom stress point and the surgery is not going to be successful. Whereas if you correct the head and get everything back to line, most of this can take care of itself, but it can certainly create or prevent a second surgery. So this is a hot topic, and I just want to touch on this for you guys with kids playing sports. Have you heard a lot about concussion and post-concussion syndrome? Basically, a concussion is when you get hit in the head and it causes the brain to swell and bruise. Now, just like any other part of your body, the swelling can go down and it can heal. But a lot of people have what they call post-concussion syndrome. And the symptoms of a concussion and that post-concussion syndrome, incidentally, are the very same symptoms you have from an upper neck misalignment. So if you get hit hard enough to have a concussion, you got hit hard enough to damage the upper neck. Matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen anybody who had a concussion that didn't have damage here. So if the symptoms are hanging on, there's a good chance this wasn't addressed. For those of you, and I'm dating myself, the 1985 Bears, Super Bowl champions, remember the Super Bowl Shuffle? Walter Payton, the Fridge. Well, their quarterback was Jim McMahon, and he was like a tough nut, tough-nosed, hard quarterback that didn't mind getting hit and mixing it up. And he, like a lot of football players, have had brain injury and pressure and headaches and difficulty thinking, and affects moods and things like that. Well, he got to a chiropractor that corrects an upper neck specialist and got an adjustment, and he said instantly the pressure went away. So even though they thought he just had damage from post-concussion syndrome, he had an upper neck misalignment. So it's real important to get that checked. So I'm just trying to bring the relevance of what we do kind of home and front and center. So for those of you who aren't patients, we use thermography to monitor their nervous system, and we use specific x-rays to see exactly how that top bone is misaligned. We use full body structural x-rays to see what your contortion looks like. So when we go over everything, we're not just talking about poster guy, we're actually talking about you. And we have a video x-ray, which is very few people have this. It's great technology. We can see the spine in motion, and we can see exactly where the locks are and exactly where it's not working right. It takes the guesswork out of it, and it can also help us monitor how we're correcting things. And we do leg checks and spinal balance things and postural assessments, and we put this all together because the goal is to take you from point A to point B as quickly as possible with as few visits as possible. Having said that, it takes time and it takes repetition, but we don't want people to have to be coming all the time because they're always hurting. A lot of chiropractic is like that, and for symptom treatment that's fine, but what we're doing, I describe it as like orthodontics for the spine. It's like we put braces on. When you go put braces on your kids and they say, all right, they're going to have braces on for 18 months. It's going to be $10,000. I'm getting a bigger boat. Thank you. And then that's the process. And then once the braces come off, it doesn't take any much work. You just wear your bite guard, you keep your teeth brushed, and you just maintain it. So the majority of work, just like that, is in here, is in the beginning. And then we get you corrected, and it just takes very little to maintain it. Now, these are all what I call secondary conditions or symptoms or diseases that there's journals and studies and research projects that have shown every one of these has responded to upper cervical care. Now, let's pick one of the crazy ones, like, let's take Parkinson's disease. Not everyone with Parkinson's has Parkinson's because they have a neck misalignment. But a lot of people, if they have a misalignment at the upper neck, it causes congestion, it causes lack of communication, and that's a symptom. And if we get that corrected, if that's the cause, people can improve or even heal from Parkinson's. Now, we don't cure or heal Parkinson's, cancer, or even neck pain. The body does the healing. But given the chance, it can work right. And we have a lot of success with some pretty crazy stuff because most people have been everywhere else. They don't know about what we do. And that's why I'm telling you, not only for you and your family, but you're going to hear people suffering from things that say they've tried everything, and you're going to realize, wow, they're probably a candidate for this kind of care. So I want you to keep that in mind. High blood pressure. Blood pressure is controlled up here. If we, most of our patients, when we correct them, we have to tell them to monitor their blood pressure medication. So if your blood pressure is 180 and you're taking a 40-point medicine that brings it down to 140 and you're managing it, as we correct you and you start working right and your blood pressure comes down to 150 and you're taking a 40-point medicine, all of a sudden your blood pressure is 110. That's dangerously low. So a byproduct of what we do is you're going to have to monitor your medications and either reduce them or maybe get off of them. But that's not a bad thing now, is it? So